We got a national championship game to break down, folks. We've got Michigan and Washington. First of all, what a great semifinal those were. Both of those games were incredible, the Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl. So congratulations to the Wolverines and to the Huskies as they make their way into the national championship. So today I want to break down this matchup, show you kind of the strengths of each team, what I think might happen. We're going to get into some fixes in college football that I think need to happen over the course of the next maybe 12 and 18 months, and then we'll get out there and we'll check out a little Klatt back to finish things off. Let's start with Michigan, though. They get the huge win over Alabama in what was an epic Rose Bowl. Now, I was there with my family. It was phenomenal. It's the only college football game of the year that I actually just to be dad at, and I got to take my boys, and we saw an epic game. Alabama finished 3 of 14 on third downs and fourth downs. I thought that was really the game, was the ability of Michigan to stop them. In particular, on the defensive line, they were physical. They did a great job. They sacked Milrose 6 times, and they were the better team. Even with how poorly they played on special teams, they were able to still win the football game. Big testament to that defensive line and that stop late. And then McCarthy with the late drive to tie the game up and then score in overtime. But let's take a look forward, though, at what this defense is going to have to do against Michael Penix and the Washington Huskies, because this is a different matchup, very different style than what they saw in the semifinal against Alabama. If you just take a look at what we've got from a kind of statistical matchup, something should jump out at you, and that is the fact that Washington has a defense that historically, scoring defense 53rd, total defense 94th, historically, this would, from a stats perspective, be the worst defense to win a national championship since the start of the BCS. That's 1998. Right now, currently, the worst defense to actually win a national championship was the 2010 Auburn team. That, of course, was quarterbacked by Cam Newton, that sensational offense. But that defense was not great. And they were right around, I think, 60th in total defense. They were, 52nd in scoring defense. And so Washington would be worse in both regards. And so they're trying to do something that's a bit unprecedented. So for them, the game is going to have to be played on their terms. Their terms is throwing the football. It's allowing Michael Penix to be elite. So because of that, Michigan is going to have to do some things defensively that curtail that. Okay, what do they have to do? Well, the first thing they have to do is shut down any semblance of run on first down. And this is the way Michigan is built, which I think is outstanding. You take a look at what they were able to do earlier in the year and really all year long on first down. Watch them get off of blocks with their defensive line. So if Washington wants to try to steal some yards on first down, it doesn't really matter what they're doing, because this Michigan team, look at all the maze that you see. They're great stuff in the run with their defensive tackles. In a lot of ways, they're built to get themselves into passing situations. Now, granted, Washington wants to throw the ball anyways, but when they do, the rush has to show up, and Michigan's going to have to rush with a collective. Okay, it can't just be one guy getting pressure on Michael Penix, because he showed the ability in that semifinal to dance away, manipulate the pocket, get himself free in order to get the ball down the field. It has to be a collective. It has to be a group effort. Well, that's what they're able to do. Michigan rushing the passer. Watch here, they're just going to rush 4, but look how good they are at getting stunts to the quarterback. And then I also want you to see how they rush and they collapse the entirety of the pocket onto the quarterback. In this case, it's Maryland, it's Taulia Tagovailoa. So it looks like he's got an opening here, but it's actually not an opening, because you've got 2 loopers, one from the inside going to the outside, one from the outside going to the inside. And what does it all of a sudden do? It collapses all around him. He's got nowhere to go. This is going to be critical for Michigan to collapse the pocket on Michael Penix, in particular right into his lap. Great passers don't want that pocket in their lap, because then they can't throw the ball with authority or velocity, which allows them to create accuracy. You're going to see another version of a similar style of defense right here. First of all, you've got everyone back in coverage, and you've got these 5 Michigan players up on the defensive line. But watch this stunt, how effective they are getting this stunt home. You've got a rusher on the outside, and they're going to flush the quarterback out. Where? Right to a stunting defensive lineman. Right here. Boom. Look at that. So we got a free rusher on the outside. Now you're going to stunt. And what happens? You got a collapsed pocket right up the middle. Quarterback has to escape. Where does he have to escape? Right to a stunting, in this case, linebacker, and they get the turnover and a scoop and score. That's going to be imperative for Michigan, is getting pressure on Penix. Now, then the next thing that they're going to have to do is match up with and really do a great job in coverage on the outside. Okay, they got to cover Rome Odunze and McMillan and Jalen Polk. These guys are excellent, man. I'm telling you, man. Washington's pass game is exquisite. A lot like Ohio State. Marvin Harrison Jr., best wide receiver in college football. So this matchup, Will Johnson against Rome Odunze, is going to need to look like this for Michigan. Watch him jump inside. He sees the leverage, and as Harrison's going inside, he just beats him to the point. Now, I actually think this was a bit of poor effort by Marvin Harrison Jr., but Will Johnson is so good because he understands where his help is. He knows he can sit and he can squat on the underneath route. And then once he sees the route, he jumps inside and he's able to get a pick. He does that really well. So even with an accurate and veteran passer like Michael Penix, there may be an opportunity for a guy like Will Johnson to get a pick depending on where his leverage is. Those are the things that they're going to need to do. And the last thing that I would say, at least for Michigan on defense, this defense and this team is built specifically to face a team like Washington. Why do I say that? Well, remember after the COVID year, Jim Harbaugh had to change this program, and he changed this program for one specific reason, and that reason was to beat Ohio State. And at the time, what did Ohio State look like? Well, great quarterback, C.J. Stroud. Great core of wide receivers at the time, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. And they were able to do it. They beat them because they built a program that limits the opponent's possessions, that can run the football, and forces the opponent's offense to earn their way down the field. That's what they're going to have to do against Washington in order to win the national championship on Monday night. It just so happens that they're specifically built to do just that. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.